anything that I need to know? Anybody have any requests or injuries? Seems good. Who said that? Shimon. Does it bother you in yoga a lot?
No, I've been doing Pilates, I've been doing yoga, so we'll see.
All right, so just take it easy. I think you might want to try keeping your knees bent and down dog. I don't know if it'll help, but I think it might. So just kind of play with it and see. But it's gentle, so hopefully, you know, we don't do a ton of vinyasas. So good morning, everybody.
Do extra.
Yeah, come on up here. Have you been here before?
No.
This is your first time?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. It's been so long.
No. I'm embarrassed to say.
No.
I have blocks, just.
Two blocks, so 2 blankets. And a bolster. Oh, and Debbie, we're gonna end in talking to Debbie, she's at home. We're gonna end in a restorative pose today, so I don't know what kind of props you have. You could use a couple pillows, a couple blankets, or you know, you can just do regular shavasana. Too, is fine. Okay, so good morning. So you can start by taking a nice comfortable seat. And like many of you are probably totally comfortable sitting right on the ground, but you may want to play with elevating your hips. So if I sit on the ground like this, even on one blanket, and bring my hands to the tops of my thighs, they're lower than my knees, right? Maybe just by a little bit. But still, what that does is it stresses the hip flexors, which most of us have tight hip flexors already. So you could sit up a little higher or like a lot higher. And then the tops of my thighs are high above my knees. Now let me tell you, it feels so much better, especially if you have low back stuff. Somebody else come in. This is Kim. Hey Kim, come on in. And then once we get started, you can come grab some props, okay? But for now, just take a seat. So I've been talking a lot lately about we're undergoing this major construction project at my house to put an in-law suite on for my in-laws to come and live with us. And man, it's been very interesting. Like first we redid our kitchen to make that bigger to accommodate everyone. And so it's been like this whole year we've had the house under construction. And this is like not a huge, you know, it's not a major stress in life, but it's still an upheaval. And it's been very interesting to watch my reaction and response to it all. Like, oh my God, wasn't expecting this to kind of come up. And what I found is that, especially when we have done some excavating work outside that involves our landscaping, I have a real reaction to it. So we just had our excavator, this is great guy, and he has all of his equipment there. We were like, hey, while you're here, can you also go back by our pool and remove a lot of this stuff that's been there since we bought the house, that's either not doing well or really, really overgrown. We just kind of want to start fresh and redo the pool maybe next year or the year after. So mentally, I'm like, this makes sense. We'll save money to do it now. It's probably best to take out the old and start fresh and go through all of these things like that make logical sense. And yet while he's doing it, I'm like, this, like I hate it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I loved that crepe myrtle, even though it was sick and hasn't flowered in like 2 years. So it reminds me of, so there's this like difference, right? With mentally how I feel about it and physically and emotionally how I feel about it and my reaction and response. And kind of just like really clearly seeing that divide. And it reminds me of something that we talk about all the time in yoga, which are these different parts of ourselves, these different energetic layers that in yoga are called the koshas. in energetic work like Reiki, we call it an aura, right? And it's these parts of who we are. There's this physical body or physical self. There's our energetic self that extends out from us. There's our brain and our thinking mind. There's what we feel, the emotions that are running through us. And then there's this part of us, in yoga, we call it, this light within me, that this core essence of who we are, that's connected to something greater, that never changes. So we're complicated, right? And what yoga teaches us to do is to practice this art of observation, where we sit back and we witness what's happening here when we come to our mat, right? Because we're moving through the same yoga poses pretty much, give or take, all of the time. Like, what keeps us coming back, and what's the deeper meaning of yoga? And what it means is to yoke or to unite. And it is a practice that brings all of these different pieces of ourselves together in a more cohesive way, where we feel union with who we are. And when we're in that place of feeling more complete and whole and accepting of all of our parts, then we can practice that out in the world. So on our mat, this is called witnessing. We sit and close our eyes, we come into a place of stillness, and we begin to witness what's here, what's happening. So let's all do that. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, and notice what's here with your physical self. How's your body? Maybe you're achy. Maybe you're having some kind of chronic issue with the physical self. That could just be, I sleep wrong and my neck hurts. Like, oh, I was on my side too long last night. Or when you get up, it's like the low back needs a minute to stretch out. And then see if you can notice this other part of yourself, your feelings. Maybe we can equate this to the nervous system, and see how it is that you feel energetically today. Are you feeling happy, bright, light? Are you feeling anxious, stressed, or sad? And the work here is just to notice without attaching story, without narrating whether it's good or it's bad, without judging ourselves. And then you notice your thinking mind, which might already be going 100 miles a minute, thinking about what you have to do after yoga, your food shopping list, whether or not you're into what's happening so far in this moment. And then see if you could take a step back from that, recognizing that this thinking part of us, that our brain, does not fully encompass who we are. And while it always has our survival in its highest interest, that it may not be telling us a story all of the time that's aligned with our best interest. So we begin to separate from our thoughts, and the practice of meditation is not to stop the thoughts from happening. We'll never stop the brain from thinking, nor do we want to. But instead to see, oh, there's a thought, and to let go of it without attaching to it. To let it float by like a cloud in the sky. To let it drop down like a stone falling to the bottom of a clear lake. To say, oh, okay, thank you, brain, for these thoughts, but I'm not available for that right now. I'm not available to go down this rabbit hole with you. And bring your awareness back to your physical body and feel the parts of yourself that are connected to your props and to the ground beneath you. And let those get heavy and wide. Take a breath in and lengthen through your spine. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. And let the crown of your head rise up. Relax your tongue in your mouth, moving it away from your upper palate or the back of your teeth. Widen the corners of your eyes. And bring your internal gaze and awareness back and down into yourself. And notice if there's a difference now in the parts, how the parts are on their own and how they're fitting together. Bring your awareness to your breath, the pranamaya kosha. Do your best to breathe in and out through your nose, drawing the breath down into the belly, and consciously lengthening each inhale and each exhale. Come back to that part that can witness all of the pieces of who you are, all of your identities and the roles that you play when you're not on your mat. Mother, daughter, sister, friend, partner, whatever makes up your career, all of these different parts. And consciously leave all of those identities at the door, allowing yourself to take this time on your mat to be in that place of divine light. That part of yourself, that essence of you that's been there since you took your first breath. And allow yourself to connect to that fully as possible. Please draw your hands together in front of your heart. Palms press in prayer. And here you can make a little space between your palms. This is Anjali Mudra. Anjali is flame. So you could visualize holding that little flame of light right between your palms. And bring it closer to your heart so that your thumbs touch your sternum. Lift your chest to meet your thumbs. And here I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. Maybe it's just to take this practice of witnessing off of your mat and to notice, when and how you respond and react to the people and situations and experiences in your life with curiosity and with love. And then let's begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. Gently bow your head to your heart, honoring yourself in advance for your practice today. And then slowly release your hands and open your eyes. You can move all of your props just off to the side and come to hands and knees on your mat. If you have sensitive knees, please feel free to use a blanket underneath them. And go find your way onto all fours and tabletop. Take a look down at your hands, taking your hands maybe wider than you think. So you could bring your pinkies to touch the outer edges of your mat. So 2 blocks, 2 blankets, and bolster. Thank you. You're welcome. And then your shoulders will be right over your wrist, or maybe even slightly behind, especially if you have wrist issues, you'll give yourself a little more space here. Point your index fingers straight ahead, walk your knees back until they're just under your hips or slightly behind. So we all have a tendency to shorten ourselves here. So give yourself a little more room and see what happens. Toes can tuck under or point straight back. And then connect to your breath. Full inhale. Complete exhale. And on your next breath in, you'll start to move into cat-cow. So inhale, lift your sitting bones, soften your belly, melt your heart. Take your gaze up. As you exhale, round through your back. Tailbone draws down, pull your belly in, ribs back, and chin to your chest. And then flow here with your breath, with your body. And again, you begin to witness. You notice, where are you hypermobile? And for most of us, it's the low back. So maybe you don't go 100% with that arch. You go 80 or 70, maintain a little stability there. You notice the parts that are not as mobile, that are tight, more rigid, and for most of us, this is the upper back area. So as you arch your back, can you melt your heart a little more? Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Sternum moves down towards the ground. Maybe you pause there and breathe in. Then inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands a little wider. Maybe bring them up another inch so they can even be kind of off of your mat. And then here we'll come through a big hip circle. You'll take your hips back and over towards your right heel, swing them towards the left, up towards your left wrist and over to the right. So this is sometimes called marauding bear, like a bear that just came out of hibernation, that is stretching it out. Here you can close your eyes and really tune into what your body needs without worrying how it looks. In prenatal yoga, we call this the animal inside your skin. It's just connecting to that part of us that goes off of our intuition of what feels good on our body. And then you can go ahead and switch direction. Maybe you're finding, like me, that you're creaky. So we're just lubricating the joints, getting that synovial fluid flowing, opening up the body. Inhale, come back to center, walk your hands back in. You're gonna set yourself up for downward dog. So here, tuck your toes, send your hips up and back. If your hamstrings are tight, you can bend your knees. Maybe you bend your knees a whole lot. The goal here in down dog is not to have the legs straight. The goal is to have the spine in its natural curves. So when we bend the knees, it takes the hamstrings out of the picture. Let's all try it. Bend your knees, send your sitting bones up towards the sky, widen them, make some space in your low back. Feel your spine lengthen, the crown of your head moves down towards your thumbs. Breathe. Notice the weight in your hands. Bring it to the inner edges of your hands as you press your thumb mound and the bones of your index finger into your mat. This could feel like a lot of work. That's okay. A couple more breaths. Then we'll come and inhale forward to a high plank, a high push-up, and then bring your knees down. So when your knees come down, notice if your butt shifted back. You want to keep it forward, so you're still in this plank, right? Nothing changes from the waist up. Your knees just come down. From here, take your shoulder blades onto the back of your heart. So it's sometimes called shoulder flossing. You're plugging in the arm bones, melting the heart. Keep your gaze forward towards the top of your mat. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, you'll bend your elbows straight back and lower your chest all the way down to the ground. Keep the heads of your arm bones lifted. For most of us, they probably dropped down towards the earth. So keep them moving to up towards the ears, back and down. Then bend your knees, so feet are in the air. Good. Pick up your right knee, lengthen it towards the back of your mat, bring it down. Feel the difference in the front of your hip. Do that on the second side. Left knee lifts, lengthen the whole thigh bone, bring that leg down, then straighten out the legs, point your toes, press the tops of the feet down. Keep resisting the shoulders away from the earth. As you inhale, slide your chest forward and up for cobra. Tuck your toes and exhale, down dog. So here you'll want to have blocks at the top of your mat. So if you don't have them there, you can take a minute to put them there. And then from downward facing dog, inhale, take your right leg to the sky. As you exhale, step your foot all the way up in between your hips. Maybe you need to help it along and shimmy it up until your right knee is over your right ankle. Press your left thigh high to the sky. Hug your legs in towards each other. Good, keep that. See if you could sink your entire pelvis down to the ground a little more. Look forward. Breathe. Keep your left hand down and now sweep your right arm up as you twist. Keep drawing the right hip back, left hip forward, left thigh presses up towards the sky. Then bend your right elbow and bring your hand to the front of your shoulder, top of your shoulder, and curl that back, open up your heart. And then from there, extend the arm back up. You press your head back, open up. Exhale, release your right hand down and grab your blocks. Bring your blocks to frame your front foot. And here we'll just pulse and move with our breath. As you inhale, straighten your front leg. And as you exhale, bend your knee. And just move with your breath. And you may find, depending on the length of your legs or what's happening in your body, that maybe you need the blocks a little higher. And see if here you can focus on maintaining that natural length of the spine without rounding the back. And every time you straighten your leg, you hug the muscles to your bone. The next time you bend your knee, pause here. Pivot your back heel down. Bring your right forearm to your right thigh, your left hand to your head. Okay. So now your chest, your pelvis, rotate to face the wall in front of you. See if you could bend a little more into your front thigh. Good, then extend your left arm out in line with your ear. Palm faces down. You reach your fingertips towards me at the front of the room. And then maybe you can start to rotate and spin your chest up towards the sky. Open up the heart. Breathe. Exhale, release, cartwheel your arms down. Downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. And then here you have options. I always give options in this class and all classes that you can hang out in down dog. This is serving you and you feel really good here. Stay in down dog. If you need reprieve, a little rest, come into child's pose. If you want a little bit more movement, move through your vinyasa. It's up to you. When you're ready, we'll meet back in down dog. And as you inhale, take your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step your left foot forward. So left knee is over your left ankle. Press your right thigh up towards the sky so you kind of lift your hips away from the ground. Then draw your left hip back, your right hip forward, so the legs hugging towards each other. From there, you can move the pelvis back down towards the ground. Lengthen the spine, look forward, a couple of breaths. Then your right hand stays down. Inhale, sweep your left arm up to twist. Bend your left elbow, bring your fingertips onto your shoulder, head of the arm bone, yep. And then curl your shoulder back. Open up your heart. Beautiful. Then extend the arm in line with the shoulder back up to the sky. Exhale and release. Grab your blocks, bring your blocks to frame your front foot. And then we move through that bend and straighten little vinyasa here. Inhale to straighten your left leg. Exhale, bend your knee. Move with your breath. And you notice, maybe this side is different. See if you could keep the spine long. And then every time you straighten your left leg, hug the leg muscles to the bone. A little squeeze. The next time you bend your left knee, stay there, pause. Pivot your back, heel down. Ideally, you have heel to arch alignment here. Front heel dissects the arch of the back foot. Bring your left forearm to your left thigh, your right hand to your hip. So when we do this, typically the chest kind of stays facing down towards the ground. So you want to rotate the heart towards the wall that you're facing with the long edge of your mat and start to take your heart up towards the sky. You can even bring your hand right onto your heart center and kind of give it a little pull upwards. Then extend the right arm out in line with your ear, palm faces down, breathe. Maybe you bend a little more deeply into your front thigh. Exhale, release. Find your way into downward facing dog. Same 3 options here. This time we'll all meet in child's pose at the end. So when you're ready, knees wide, big toes together, send your hips back towards your heels, forehead to the earth. And if your forehead doesn't come down comfortably to your mat, you could stack your fists and rest your forehead there. See if for the next few breaths, you could soften the heart down towards the ground. And as you breathe, check back in. Notice where your energy pools. Does it stay focused up in the head? With the thinking mind? Can you drop it down into your heart? Notice what it feels like to keep the center of your awareness in the heart space. Can you drop it down into the core of the pelvis? Notice if that feels any different. Then here, walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. You take your left fingertips a little further away. Inhale back through center and then walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through the right side body. Inhale back to center. Walk your hands in just enough so that you have space to thread the needle. You'll take your right arm, thread it underneath your left, come down onto your right shoulder, right ear to the ground or to a block. And you can stay just like this. Might be a lot. Or you could inhale, take your left arm up, bring it behind you to bind and grab your right thigh. Or move towards that. Release the bind if you have it. Press your left hand down into the mat. Inhale, sweep your right arm up, open up the chest. Right hand comes back down and switch sides. Thread your left arm underneath your right, coming down onto your left shoulder. So your left palm faces up towards the sky, left ear to the earth. See if you could keep your pelvis level and centered with your navel dropping straight down towards your mat. You could stay just like this, or you could inhale your right arm up, reach it back behind you and feel for your left thigh, or you just move in that general direction. Palm could stay to the low back. Breathe. Release the bind if you have it. Bring your right hand back down onto your mat. Press down, inhale, sweep your left arm up. Unwind. And make your way into downward facing dog. And pedal out through your legs here, bending one knee and sending the opposite heel towards earth. On your next inhale, walk your feet forward until they meet your hands. Exhale as you fold, Uttanasana. Hamstrings are tight, little bend in the knees. You could use your blocks here. Then root down into your feet, press them into the ground, and inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, so let's take a wide stance on our mat. You can face this way. Extend your arms straight out in line with your shoulders. Try to line up your ankles underneath your wrists. Good, bring your hands back to your hips. And then everyone can probably widen their heels just a tiny bit. And feel what that does to your hips. Okay, good. Keep that. Turn your right toes to face forward. And make sure you have a block here on the outside of your right shin. Bend your right knee. Bring your hands at the top of your head. So when we bend the knee, typically the torso kind of leans towards that front leg. So see if you can take the center of your head and line it up with the center of your tailbone. So see how you probably just brought your left side body back. So you want to keep that straight line of the spine. Keep that, arms extend out in line with your shoulders, and just bring your gaze out over your right middle finger or your breathe. Flip your palms, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, lift your heart. Good, keep that, palms turned down. Then press into your right foot. Inhale, straighten your leg. So your kneecap lifts. Here, take a look at your kneecap. The four corners of your knees should be pointing straight up towards the sky, right? Not turning inwards. Then as you exhale, reach your right fingertips past your toes. Good, we're coming into triangle pose. Bring your hand down to your block. Left arm up to the sky. Connect to your breath. Relax your tongue. Relax your jaw. Put a little bend into your right knee. Imagine someone grabs you from your left wrist, pulls you all the way back up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Turn your right toes in. So feet are parallel once more. This time, interlace your hands behind your back in Yoga Mudra. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. Keep your chest lifted, but notice if you popped your belly forward, draw your belly in and knit your ribs back in. Good. Keep that. Inhale. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Resist your shoulders away from your ears, and then you could maybe start to wrap your arms overhead. If this is too much on your shoulders, if you have shoulder issues, you could just take your hands to your hips or bring them down to the ground, is fine. Breathe. Breathe right into the space at the back of the heart. Inhale, lengthen halfway, hands to your hips. From the back of the heart, inhale all the way back up to stand. Give yourself a minute. We'll move your block over to the left side. Turn your left toes to face forward. Find that heel to arch alignment. Bend your left knee. Bring your fingertips to the center of your head, center of your crown. Line that up with the base of your spine. Keep that. Extend your arms out in line with your shoulders. Warrior two. Gaze up over your left middle finger. You can take a look down at your foot, your left foot, and if you can't see your toes, you'll track your knee open to the left so it aligns with your second toe. Inhale to straighten your left leg. Exhale, reach your fingertips past your toes. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Hand comes down to your block. Right arm straight up to the sky. And then same thing that we did here when we twisted open and when we did side angle. You'll take your right shoulder back, open up your heart. Heart rotates up towards the sky. Breathe. Put a little bend in your left knee from your right wrist. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to your hips. Turn your left toes in, feet are parallel once more. Interlace your hands behind you. This time do the exotic interlace. So you just switch, the one you don't usually do. Then the shoulders up, back, and down. Lift your heart. Exhale, bow forward. Wrap your arms overhead. Breathe. Go ahead and release the clasp of your hands. Bring your hands to your hips. Shoulder blades onto your back, from the back of the heart, come all the way up. Step your feet together, come to the top of your mat. Hands to heart center. Take a moment here, close your eyes. Feel your body, your feet on the ground, the beating of your own heart. Notice if there's any tension, you can soften the shoulders, the jaw, the neck. Notice if you feel emotionally different from the start of class, if you feel calmer, less stressed. Taking a few breaths in the seat of the witness. Then press your feet down into the ground. Inhale, open your eyes, reach your arms up, lift your heart. Exhale, swan dive forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back, and exhale, downward facing dog. Option to move through a final vinyasa here. Inhale forward to high plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale to cobra. Back into your down dog. And then you'll come on down and onto your back. As you lay down on your back, you could take a full body stretch here. Lengthen from your fingers to your toes. Feel what it feels like to have your body on the ground. And then bend your knees, place your feet on the ground so that your feet are parallel, sitting bone or hip distance apart. As you exhale, bend your elbows by your sides with your fingertips up towards the ceiling. So you're setting up for bridge here, little robot arms. You'll press the backs of your arms down and see if you could take your shoulder blades underneath you a little more. So here you may already feel the bridge. The bridge is the spine peeling away from the mat, every vertebrae, so no part of your back, of your spine, is on the mat. From there, press into your feet. Inhale, lift your hips. Imagine that your pelvic bones can move in towards each other and draw up towards your navel. Heart moves towards your face, press the back of your head into the mat. Exhale, release. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Inhale, knees back to center. Cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh. From your left hip, where your leg bone enters into your hip socket, press your leg open so the knee tracks away from the body. Keep weight even on your sacrum and your pelvis. You could stay just like this, or you could pick up your right foot and interlace your hands behind your right thigh or on top of your shin. Go ahead and release the clasp of your hands and bring your right foot back to the ground. Keep your left leg where it is. Take your arms out to cactus, so goalpost arms. Elbows are in line with your shoulders, wrists are over your elbows with the backs of your hands on the ground, palms up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in here. And keeping your legs in the shape that they're in, as you exhale, bring both legs and knees over to the left. So your heel of the left foot presses down onto the outer side of the right leg, the right thigh, and kind of gives a little IT band stretch there. You could gaze out over your right shoulder. Inhale back up to center. And switch sides. Bring your left foot down, cross your right ankle over the top of the left thigh. Flex your right foot. Bring the awareness to the right hip socket and press your femur bone away from the body from there, rather than thinking about the knee pressing away from you. Then from here, you could decide to stay just like this or pick up the left foot and interlace your hands. Level out the weight on your pelvis and sacrum, so it's not all shifting over to the right. Take your shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Keep the heart open and breathe. From here, go ahead and release the clasp of your hands, left foot down to the ground. Take your arms out to cactus or goalpost. Breathe in, exhale, drop your knees over to the right. You can press the right heel into the outer left thigh, stretch the IT band, and look out over your left shoulder. Inhale up to center, bring your right foot down, parallel with your left, and then toe heel your feet as wide as your mat. Drop your knees over to the right, inhale back through center, drop them over to the left, just gentle little twist here. You could bring your head and neck into it, and as your knees come to the right, you look over the left shoulder. As the knees come to the left, you look over your right shoulder. One more side, one more time each side. Inhale, knees back to center, hug your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug here, maybe a massage on your low back. Circling the knees in one direction and then the other. Hug your knees back in, then take your knees wide, soles of the feet up towards the sky for happy baby. You can grab onto the pinky toe edges of your feet, ankles, your shins. Hug your knees back into your chest, roll to your right side, come all the way up. So we're going to set up for a restorative pose to end the class in. So a couple of things before I show you how to get into this posture. I'll offer Reiki in Shavasana. So if you want to receive Reiki, you'll stay in this position that you're in, and you'll set up your head to face the window back there. If you don't want Reiki, just flip around. So your head's facing me, okay? And it's no worries either way. Reiki's just a universal energy that you'll feel my hands on your head, and it's relaxing. It knows exactly where to go. So also, if this restorative pose doesn't work for you, you can take regular Shavasana, right? Whatever's best for your body. Here, you'll take your 2 blocks at wherever your head is going on your mat. One block is at its highest setting. The other block comes right behind it at its middle setting. Yeah. 2 little bricks, and then you'll take your bolster and you'll place it up on that ramp, like so. You'll take a blanket, fold it in half like this. Started like this, just in half again. And this can come at the top of your mat. If you find that that's not enough of a pillow for your head, you can fold it again like this and have this behind your neck. Here's the tricky part. It's really not that tricky, but you'd be surprised. So you're going to open a blanket this way. Nope. You're going to open your blanket all the way. So it's folded in half, the fringe down or up, whatever. Yep. And then you're going to lay that flat and you're going to roll it up like a pool noodle. So you get this long noodle. You guys are pros. All right, now you're going to come to sit with your low back up against this part of the bolster. If it's too far away, you're not going to be comfortable. So you really want to scooch your butt back. Okay, then you're going to bring the soles of your feet together with your knees up. And you're going to take your noodle and place it over your ankles. And then you're going to pull the noodle ends back. And they're going to kind of tuck under your thighs. You're going to lay back on your bolster. Should feel good. Oh, yeah. Yeah? That's great. You might need to, if you have low back stuff. I have low back stuff since I had the kids. So you may have to kind of pick up your pelvis and lengthen your tailbone down because you want to be comfortable here. Is that be okay? Good. Okay. So now let's take a couple cleansing breaths. Take a full breath in. Yeah, let it go. Breathe in and release. You can have your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. Let the weight of your body drop down to your mat. Give yourself permission here to let go of anything that happened before this moment. Anything that's yet to come. Check in one more time with your tongue, letting it get heavy and wide on the lower palate. Relax the muscles of your face. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Give yourself full permission here. Fully surrender into Shavasana. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back into your body. As you wiggle your fingers, your toes. Suddenly become aware of all of those different parts of yourself present here on your mat. Now on your next breath in, bring your knees up to center. We'll take a moment to pause on your right side. You could stay up on your props. You can move them out of the way and lay down. Just give yourself a moment to curl up here and just be. To be complete just as you are in this moment of peaceful stillness before we go back out into the busyness of our lives, into the world. And then knowing that there's no rush, you can start to make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. And once you arrive, close your eyes. Bring your hands back into Anjali Mudra one final time, holding that little space between your palms for the flame of light within you. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class, feeling free to modify it or change it in any way so you can carry it with you through the rest of your day or your week. And let's end our class and seal in our intentions together one final time with a cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice today and for being here with me on this beautiful Saturday. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Erin.
Great weekend.
You as well. Take care.